Well, we talk about sort of the big adjustments you had to make to college hockey, but what do you think was like the biggest improvement you made to your game this year, in your opinion?
I think it's something that people necessarily wouldn't think. For me, I was very proud of my ability to play back-to-back games. Um, so I haven't played like a full season of hockey since my freshman year of high school. Like senior year COVID, year before I was someone's backup goalie, played JV and split time my sophomore year. So it was a lot at first playing back-to-back games, and it's like something you would never really realize is like that physically demanding until you do it. Especially against like Ohio State, Wisconsin, and like Duluth, like it's a lot to do. So I was very proud of, I know a lot in the first half of the year. My first game would be like amazing, and then my second game it would be good, but it wouldn't be like to my standard. So I was just really proud of how the conditioning and the mental side of it, which is probably like over half of how difficult it is. Kind of staying focused through six periods in that like short amount of time, how it just got better and better and better throughout the year goes by, which that comes with experience. So I was very happy, and then getting into playoffs, like I think our last game was like it was like Wisconsin, Ohio, Duluth, Wisconsin. So especially like with those games and like that pattern of games, like being able for me to just like sit back and really work on like not just like physically conditioning but mental conditioning was something huge, and it's obviously something I'm not done working with. Like that's going to be something I work on for the rest of my career, but I was so happy that it finally started to click halfway through the year.
Now, your team got to play in Vegas during Thanksgiving. I want to ask you how cool was that trip, and what'd you take away from that experience?
Yeah, so Vegas for me was not too cool. I probably
Oh
played my
no.
worst game that year or that weekend, but I took away a lot. Like, obviously, the experience in going to Vegas was so much fun, but it's also such a short amount of time. So you can't do that much there. We're there for like 3 days, but um, even with me like having probably my worst game of the season, I think I took away more out of that than I took out of an Ohio State game because I took all of that and that feeling and all those mistakes and I went straight into training mode. Like every goal is going to have a bad game here and there, but for me I was like that's it, that's the last one. Like I saw my goalie coach from back home and someone who I've been with since I was 10, so we worked through all of those little things. And so yes, the experience is cool, but I definitely do think it wasn't just the place, it was like the learning that took place in that tournament.
Did you do anything fun when you're down there? I know you're only there for 3 days, but I saw that you guys went to a Golden Knights game, so that looked like a lot of
Oh
fun.
yeah, I've always wanted to go to a Golden Knights game too. So that was really fun. Like, we're only there for like 3-ish days. So there isn't much to do, but there was one day, like we went to the Knights game with the whole team, and it is a show. It is nothing like you'd ever think an NHL game is. Like they have a light show, and they have people skating around with like in Knights gears, and like they have like a fake mascot or whatever for the other team, and they're like battling, and it was a good game too. It was a close one, and it was Talbot versus Thompson in net, and those are two goalies that I love watching. So I was like, I hit the jackpot. Like,
Yeah.
didn't get to pick who got to play this weekend, but it was so much fun for me to watch, and it was a lot of fun going there.
Yeah, it's crazy how Vegas is like on their like fifth goalie now in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, they go through goalies as soon as Fleury left. I feel like now they're like trying to find a new guy, but yeah,
I
they're
think just
still
they've
doing
had bad
great.
luck with injuries though, because
Yeah.
like Brossoit like pulled a groin, and like once you knew he like couldn't move after that, I was like, yeah, that guy's not coming back for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, but they're what is it, up 2-0 now?
Yeah,
So good thing they're deep. They have enough. That's the thing in the NHL. You need to have multiple goalies that can win you a Stanley Cup. So they
yeah,
got it down.
yeah. I know. I just think I don't know. Dallas does have the goaltending edge though against them, obviously. So, and I think there's some games in the playoffs where you need your goalie to sort of win you one. And the question is, and when Vegas needs that type of game, are they able to get it? Obviously they haven't needed it right now, but we'll see what happens. When you beat McDavid and Drysdale, I feel like it's not really an issue, but you never know. I feel like it
You
does pop
never
up
know.
sometimes.
Yeah, there's always those 1-0, 2-1 games. I mean, like you said, like Audie, even against Minnesota, there were a couple games where he had shutouts and he like had to win. So yeah, you definitely need that, especially now that we're getting down to the finals.
Well, obviously the biggest highlight. One thing I do want to ask you before I get to this next question is obviously you guys pulled up in some of the best pregame outfits when you were coming to Vegas, but I feel like the Nashville pregame outfits were better your freshman year. Which ones did you like better? I have to get a player's perspective on that.
Oh, I would probably say Nashville. I feel like
Yeah.
that's a theme you can just roll with. I'm not big into my outfits before the game. I always say I could wear sweatpants to a game and I'd play the exact same. But I know a lot of the girls love dressing up. Cowboy boots, cowboy hats, like they'd wear like flare jeans. Like they had so much fun. They were picking out their outfits in September. So I definitely think that there were some good ones in Vegas too, but I thought that they were really good in Nashville.
Well, in the non-hockey segment, we'll find out who has the best style from your perspective on the team. So get
Yeah.
ready for that. But the biggest highlight of your season was obviously when you guys beat Ohio State to win the WCHA championship. Talk about that game and what it was like winning that trophy. Because if I'm not mistaken, Ohio State beat you guys last year in that same spot. So how good did it feel to sort of get revenge against them?
So good. Always Ohio State, such a great, talented team. We battled with them like what did we play them 5 or 6 times? I don't know exactly, but every game was a battle and it was so much fun. And I was actually really sick that weekend. To the point where I didn't know if I could play. I couldn't breathe. I had like wasn't COVID, but it was like upper respiratory, head cold. And so going into that game, I had no idea what was going to happen. I was like rubbing, vapor rub all over me, trying to breathe. So honestly, that game is a blur to me. Don't remember a lot of it. All I remember is like the final couple seconds. Because like even our fifth years, they've never won that championship before. The last time we won was 2018, so it was something where we're like, we want to hang a banner. We lost regular season to Ohio State by 2 points, and we let it slip just in the end of the year. We had it locked until like 2 weekends left. So for us, it was yes, payback from last season, but also for regular season because everyone was so annoyed. So. So much fun. I just know our fifth years were like never won this trophy before, and it's like it's the national championship before the national championship. It's like the prep for that one. That's why especially for us it's so hard to win a national championship and anyone in our league is because you play the same teams within a 2 week span and it is so hard to beat them twice. So it was just yes, obviously the national championship is number one, goal, but like getting that step in our team was just amazing. It was so much fun. Everyone loved it.
Yeah.
So much joy it was just brought to our team after that.
Did the winning feeling sort of cure your sickness a little bit? At least get you by through that rest of that day?
Oh gosh, a little bit. I still was like, I was on took Advil, was downing Gatorade in between periods, eating food. There'd be in between periods, I'd literally be like laying back in my stall taking a nap. I don't even know how I played, but you kind of go into autopilot. Like you
Yeah.
kind of just like figure it out. But no, after we were done, everyone's like, they're celebrating, they're running around, and I'm like, I am gonna sit right here and I'm not gonna move.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You also don't
I
want to get your rest of your team sick too.
exactly. So I kind of was just like, have fun. I'll be over there hanging
Yeah.
out. Like, that's about it. But it was just, I really do wish I could have enjoyed that part of the experience a little bit more. But like, as soon as I got in the locker room, I think I just like sat there for like 20 minutes. Like, I want to go to
Yeah.
bed.
Yeah. Now you can say you had a flu game though, sort of like Michael Jordan. So that's at least
Yeah.
that's the way I would look at it.
Yeah. I actually get sick a lot. I have the worst luck. I was sick in Slovakia during the gold medal game with something really similar. Um, in high school, I was pretty sure I had COVID, but we didn't get tested really, which is controversial, I know, but didn't want our season to get shut down. And I have the worst luck with getting sick on my
Yeah.
biggest game days. So I need to
Yeah.
figure that out going
I would just
down the
say
road.
probably just don't be near people before those big games. Just like isolate yourself a little bit. At least
Isolate.
that'll be my advice at least.
Yeah, quarantine for a few days before the next time we have a huge game. Yeah.
Now you guys advanced the Frozen Four. You guys beat Minnesota Duluth in the regional game. Obviously, sort of similar circumstance to the WCHA championship game where Duluth beat you guys in the regional last year, so you guys didn't make it the Frozen Four. So you guys got revenge against them this year as well. Talk about what it meant to you, fifth years really, to advance to the Frozen Four this past season and what that experience was like.
Yeah, it was such a heartbreaker last year, losing to them. One goal game, like same thing with what we did with Ohio. So it's kind of funny how it was like back to back, just like that. More motivation. It was just something where like they're coming to our place, like we're not going to let them get out of it this time. And especially with the Frozen Four being in Duluth, we knew that they were going to give it their all. Like being able to play in the Frozen Four in your home arena is a dream of everyone's. So it was something where it's like we got to go. Like we beat them. I think we swept them throughout the regular season, but with Duluth, you never know. They're a team where they can lose every single game, but the most important game they'll beat you. So they're very sneaky in that way. So it was just we had a lot of confidence going into it, just because of the Ohio State thing, that we just brought it through, and we're like, they're not winning. Like there was no question. They're like, we're gonna walk out of here and we're gonna go to the Frozen Four next week. That was the mentality that we had going into the game, and it was a very close game. I know we won 3-0, but it was a very close game through all of it, and it was so much fun. Like it was, everyone was like ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a great experience with that.
Now, what was the Frozen Four experience like off the ice with the red carpet and all that stuff, and just sort of the
Mm-hmm.
pomp and circumstance of it?
Yeah, it was a great experience. You kind of, um, it's a good spotlight to have. Duluth is a great facility too. Like their arena is awesome. I love Ansoil. So the media day, we got to go in there, and a bunch of us, and got to do interviews and pictures. And the rink was all decked out. Like they redid the ice, and even the games, we got a lot of fans there too. So it was just an amazing experience. Excited for next year. Another sour taste in our mouth, Wisconsin, and we have a trend of turning that around the following year. So I'm really excited to see what we're
Yeah.
going to do.
Well, I do want to ask about that game. Unfortunately, your season did come to an end, losing to Wisconsin in the national semifinal when Caroline Harvey scored that OT winner. Uh, I guess even though you lost, would you take away from that game that you think is going to help your team out for next season?
Gotta say that game was a little weird. We scored 2 quick ones, and that was it. Or we scored 1 quick one, and then one at, what was it, a minute left, 30 seconds left. So
Yeah.
I definitely think going into next season, we got to play 60 minutes. I don't think we played, I think everyone would say we didn't play 60 minutes. We kind of like were there hanging in there doing well, but 1-0, like I know Wisconsin did it to Ohio State. That's so rare to win a 1-0 game. So I think everyone's just ready. And I think we haven't been to the Frozen Four. No one on my team, I think the Super Seniors did one year, but other than that, no one did. So we were all new to the thing. So I think going into next year, we know the expectation now, and we know what we need to do. It was a lot of learning. And again, so excited. I know we're going to face them in a playoff game again. Like there's no question about it. So I'm very excited to get payback
Oh,
again.
yeah. Do you have to have like a goldfish memory about that as a goalie? When that puck goes in, you sort of need to just forget about it like after it happens.
Oh yeah, you can't think about it, or else you'll give up another one. I've always been pretty good with like giving up a goal and being like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
and just like playing, and then after the game is when I really analyze it. But as a goalie, like you can't think about it, or else you get in your own head. So definitely something you just gotta like forget it and just
Yeah.
move on.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Caroline Harvey was probably one of the best shooters, in my opinion, last season. So at least someone like that scored on you. So,
Yeah, if it had to happen, I'm happy it was her. I've known KK. I did worlds with her growing up, so if I had to lose, I'm happy it was to the best defenseman in the WCHA, in my opinion. So
now, talk about just next season, what are your team's goals and expectations, and just your thoughts on women's college hockey right now. It feels to me like there's a lot of transfers going into Ohio State trying to get some revenge for their shortcomings last season. Obviously, Wisconsin is ready to win back another national championship, and I feel like you guys have arguably the best freshman class next season. So it's going to be a lot of fun. What's your thoughts on next season and what you hope to accomplish?
yeah, so we lost a lot of talent, but as you said, we're bringing in a lot of talent. So it's not like we're behind at all. yes, Ohio State can get as many transfers as they want. But I think the bond that we have and the common goal that we have, and most of us has been together. We've been together for years now. Um, you can't replace that. You can't copy that. That's something that, yeah, everyone can have a goal of winning a national championship, but bringing in transfers like that many, like it's not going to be the same. So I think our team, like even day one of spring training, we all knew, like it's like we're all going to battle together. Like I trust you, person next to me. Like I'm winning for you. I've known you. I know your siblings. I know your family personally. We're bringing in transfers like that. You don't get that bond. And Wisconsin's going to be Wisconsin. They're talented every single year. Like no question about it. They always have talent. Um, but that's another thing too is I just think our team's ready to go. Even
Yeah.
the ones coming in, we have a couple sisters too, so you know, it's not like they're all new. Like sisters have been with the team for a while; they know the common goals. But um, I'm so excited to go in, and I just Ohio State bringing in transfers. I'm like, we're gonna be right there with you. Like we're
Awesome.
gonna be able to compete with you no matter what. You can take all the talent from Hockey East and the CHA, and for us, our team loves each other so much that even if you guys might have more pure talent, we're going to outwork you and we're going to beat you just on pure effort and compete.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
Yeah, for sure. Have you had the chance to meet any of the when do the freshmen show up, I guess? When is that when you start to meet them?
So they come in early June, like officially to live on campus and take summer classes, but a handful of them had an official visit in the fall. So we got to like meet them and like they come to our apartment and hang out and come to games and stuff. So they've been around. And like I said, we have a couple sisters. So like you see the sisters and you get to know them through family and stuff. So very excited coming in soon. I know we have a girl from Hungary coming in who's very talented. But for her, I think international girls have to wait till fall, which is kind of sad. Love to have her in sooner, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot of fun with them.
So you've played with the Wethington sisters, the Zumwinkle sisters, and now the Lindsay sisters. That's three pairs of siblings. I feel like that's never happened before for
And
anybody.
the Hemp sisters.
Oh, there I didn't know that.
There's another one. Yeah. So Peyton's little sister's a defenseman. So she's also coming in as well. So we have a lot of sisters.
Yeah.
But they're all great. So I'm very excited. It is different. So for me, I kind of get jealous a little bit watching because yeah, my sisters all played hockey, but they were so much older than me that I never got to play with them.
Yeah.
I only got to watch them. So it is really fun and kind of sad for me to like always see them and their sisters around. And, it's something that I wish I could have done. But I was 8 years younger than my sister who played college hockey. So that was that was out of the question, but it's a lot of fun seeing their relationships throughout the 4 years.
Yeah. Is it funny seeing them like have like obviously you know them obviously I know them as hockey players, but is it kind of funny to see them like as sisters sometimes, like the bickering that takes place or like when an older sister like say something to the younger one or whatever?
Yeah, it's funny. Like the Wethingtons, like they live together too. So we hear so many stories and like they complain about each other all the time and they like argue with each other. But everyone, like almost everyone on the team has a sister. So we all just like laugh about it because we know like it's over like small stuff too. Like, oh, like you're wearing my shoes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun. And like for me, like my sister, like she lives out in Boston and my other sister's back home. So it's like kind of fun to see. It like just reminds you of your own family too.
Oh yeah. Well, we're now in a segment I like to call the non-hockey segment, where I ask you some non-hockey questions just to get to know you a little bit more off the ice. First one is, what music do you like to listen to?
I listen to anything. I'm not picky, which is really weird. I can do anything. Honestly, I sometimes when I go into the gym on my own, like at the rink, I will always forget to put music on, and I just go right into the workout. And our trainers think I am like psycho because of it.
I don't think you're
Um,
psycho. I don't want to ruin my headphones because I get sweaty too easily. So
yeah,
I feel the same way.
yeah. I just kind of just like, well, we play it through the loudspeakers too,
Oh,
and
okay.
they're like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, oh, I forgot, because I'm just always kind of like it's not like going through the motions, but like I don't think about anything. Like when I work out or play, I kind of just like focus on what I'm doing. So I just like honestly, they play music in the locker room, and I like couldn't tell you what they play. I'm kind of just like whatever. So I've never been picky. I'll listen to anything. My mood changes from here to there. I usually only listen to music when I'm driving somewhere. So
Yeah.
nothing. Nothing too crazy.
So you're not one of those goalies that has to listen to like hype music before a game, but I know some goalies
Mm-mm.
listen to classical. They want to calm themselves
Hmm.
down before a game. So I don't know which one
Yeah.
are you.
Yeah, I'm like, I listen to nothing. Like, I
Oh,
think it's part of it is growing up playing boys hockey. Like, I never got the music in the locker room before the games, so it's another thing. That's just how I grew up. That's how I was raised, in silence. But yeah, no, I do know a lot of goalies. Some do pump up, some do classical, and it is funny to hear. And like, I think it also like the way goalies play correlates to what they do and stuff like that off the ice. So it is kind of funny to hear what other people do.
now what is your like biggest goalie quirk? I know every goalie has one. Is it like the Linus Olmark when he does the smelling salts before the game? Is it what Devin Levi does when he like meditates in between commercial breaks? I'm curious what your sort of thing is, or is it just nothing at all?
I feel like I do a lot of things that like people just don't notice.
Yeah,
Like Levi, like he takes like what is it, like a knee on the ice? Like that's so
he
noticeable.
meditates.
Yeah, he like literally like just
I
the
remember first time
weirdest
seeing it, I
thing.
was like, "What is he doing? This makes no sense."
Yeah. But I have my own kind of like that's probably like his reset to games. I have my own little things like during the national anthem, I track every single line on the flag and I'll track the flag all the way around, all the way back mid game. If I need a mental reset or if I accidentally look at the scoreboard, I will look down at the outline of my crease and kind of track back and forth, back and forth. So I feel like I do a lot of little things that like a person watching wouldn't know.
Yeah,
Nothing like Devin Levi
yeah.
and turning around completely and just sitting there. So
He takes the mask off and everything. Oh, at least
yeah,
I think he did it for one game,
yeah.
if I remember that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, what's your most embarrassing hockey moment?
Oh gosh, it's a good one. I don't know if I have a distinct moment, but I
That's
remember
good.
during COVID. This is kind of one, but it's also like acceptable. I would say we had to wear masks while we played through Minnesota State High School League, and my mask I couldn't see like down the puck here. And I remember I gave up a goal in my first game trying to play the puck, and I was like, "Wait, I can't see it."
Yeah,
So I cut holes, and I was like, "I'm wearing a mask. My nose, my mouth is covered, but it went down to like here. It was like my nose is covered, and it went down here, and it went up. So it looked ridiculous, and I have pictures of it. Um, and it looked so bad. So that was probably like embarrassing just to have to like wear that through COVID. But
hmm
if I didn't, I'm like, if I'm going to cover a puck, I can't see it. I'm gonna give up more goals. So I was like, I'm cutting holes in my mask. Like if I can see the puck, I'm fine.
yeah.
So
You
looked a
got
little weird though.
you got to compromise a little bit. So I get that. Now let's ask you some questions with some of your teammates. Who's the funniest on the team?
Chrislyn, she graduated, but I'm still gonna count her. She is the funniest person. Like you wouldn't realize it until you start talking to her and you're like, oh my gosh. Like the
Yeah.
stuff she does, like just even the facial expressions she makes, like everyone in the locker room just starts dying. Like she's awesome.
Now let's get to the question. I'll even answer this myself, but who has the best pregame outfit style on the Minnesota women's hockey team?
Who do you think it is?
I think it's a tie between Emily Oden and Madison Kaiser. I think they both
Really?
do a good job sort of like being subtle about it, but also like sticking out at the same time, if that makes sense. I really like their
Mm-hmm.
outfits a lot.
I would agree. Those two are very good, but for me, it would have to be Olivia King. I
Okay.
love like everything she wears, not even to the game, just like on a day to day basis. You're like taking mental notes in your head, like that looks good together. I think that she is the best dressed. And then she'll also like come into pregame skate or on a random day wearing sweatpants. So she's like really relatable in that sense where she has great outfits, but then she'll also have days where she's just like, I'm just coming to the rink.
If it makes you feel better, I think you have the best on ice style on the team because I always like the
Really.
goalie stuff, and I think your mask is
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool. I don't know how
Thank
you
you.
get that. I don't know how you design it like in college.
Yeah.
Do they just
So
give it
it
one to you?
So no, you get to design it, but actually my freshman year, I was so behind on ordering my gear that like I kind of slapped that thing together. So you what you do is you like draw on this little template, like kind of what you want, and send it to the person who does your mask, and they'll like put it up on a computer. and send it to you. So I was like, first try, I was like, just do this. Like, I don't care what it looks like. So I did slap it together, but I am very excited. I'm getting a new helmet this year.
Nice.
And I've actually took the time to sit down and think out my process. And I'm dating the goalie on the men's team. So he's also like we both sit down together, and it's so fun to be able to like talk through like, what are you going to do there? Okay, that's a good idea. Like, what NHL goalies helmets do you like? Okay, that's a good idea. And like, I think we spent like 3 hours just like sketching our masks. And so I do have a rough draft, and I need to contact my guy now, but I'm so excited. This year's going to be like completely different
That's
than what
cool.
I
That's
have,
cool.
and I'm really
Any cool
excited.
like quirks? Like I know some people put the USA hockey logo on the
Mhm.
back just to like sort of nod to like their prior hockey experience or something like that.
Yeah, so I am planning on, so your back plate, you gets personal. So everything else has to be school related in the front, and then your back plate, it has to be approved by the school, but you can put personal logos and stuff. So I'm going to put my high school logo kind of like in the corner. Um, and then I am going to put, so I go, this is what I'm planning right now, not official, but there's this place on campus, Tony's Diner, that I go to in season like 3 times a week. Like that's where we eat breakfast before games. So I'm gonna like figure out how to put that on there, just
Hmm.
so it's like
That's pretty
he
cool.
comes in, he gives us food, and I'm just like, nope, love that place, best food on campus. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to put that on there too.
Are you trying to have a better design than your boyfriend, I assume? Like, is there a
Oh
competition? Yeah.
gosh, 100%. Because mine this year, I was like, threw that one together freshman year. Where now it's like I absolutely love Jack LaFontaine. When he was here, his helmets were so like detailed, and like you couldn't notice some stuff until you were either close up or like the light hit it and it reflected. So I'm thinking of going with the same guy who painted his, because I'm like, I want detail, I
Yeah.
want like little things. Like I'm so excited. I'm just like, my helmet's gonna be so cool this year. It's gonna be so much fun.
Obviously, I'm biased, but I thought Darian Hansen from UConn had a cool one because he would put
Oh, I
basketball
didn't see
players on
his.
the back. So obviously at
Okay.
UConn, it's a big basketball school. So he had
Yeah,
Kemba Walker and Maya Moore like on the back plate. And I just thought that was pretty cool. And he would always do that for every team he played for. So I always
that's
thought that was a
really
nice little
cool.
touch.
Yeah, I never noticed that. I just know Laffer did um, like sketches of like the All Americans and like Herb Brooks, where it's like
Yeah.
so detailed. Where like I was like, that's really cool. So I definitely like that touch though, where it's kind of like putting the that school's type of thing on your helmet is really cool. I never saw that. I'd have to look at it
Well, one more non-hockey question is what's the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
this week. Kind of been checked out online just because I was at camp. But I have started the Hunger Games prequel book, and I've been reading that one. I'm not a reader at all. I don't remember the last time I read a book. So for me to actually sit down and read a book, I'm like, this is good.
Yeah.
Um, it's been out for so long, but they just put out their first trailer for the movie, and it's coming out in November, and I'm like, I gotta read it now. So about a third of the way through it, then I'm like, yeah, I love the Hunger Games. Big fan. Read the books in high school, which again for me was huge because I hate to read books. So yeah, definitely that book. I don't
Yeah.
even know the name of it, but it's the prequel to the Hunger Games.
Yeah. I think for me, I was just reading about Matthew Tkachuk. I just think he's a super interesting player, and
Uh-huh.
if I were a kid, he would probably be one of my favorite players just because I love his game and how intense he is, and
Yeah.
just like I think he's a funny guy. So I was just reading about him and like how he got started, and like I just thought he was pretty interesting. And then obviously, since this is a Minnesota podcast, Logan Cooley coming back for his sophomore year,
Oh yeah.
cool. I
For
think
us,
your team.
we've known, so it's
Oh,
like kind of been
well, they've been
hard.
trying to keep under wraps for a while, so
Yeah.
I think your
Like same with
team.
the fifth years. Like
Yeah.
that's like where it's like funny is like it's like yeah, it's news, but for me I was like, oh, I knew about like 2 months ago like that
Yeah.
they were coming back. But it's fun to see everybody like freak out about it. Like, oh my gosh, like our team's gonna be very good next year.
So yeah, well, hopefully they're going to try to get some revenge, like your team will, in the Frozen Four,
Exactly.
because that was a very fun
Perfect.
game to watch, for me as a neutral fan, but obviously for your team, I know that wasn't probably the best experience. So
So close. So close. Yeah. They're I think what is it? They only lost Matthew Nyes, and
yeah,
is that it now? They've only
I
lost
I
Matthew
don't know,
Nyes,
is
I think.
close coming back?
Yeah.
All right, so
So yeah, that's crazy that their whole team. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it'll be very fun to watch next
especially
year.
since the Frozen Four is in St. Paul this year. So,
Yeah, that's gonna be great. It's St. Paul this year for boys, and it's Ritter the next year for girls.
oh,
So I'm
nice.
very excited for
Where
that.
is it this year for girls?
New Hampshire. So,
Oh, that's
and the
cool.
last time it was in New Hampshire, we won.
Hasn't
So,
been the East Coast for a while too. So
mhm,
that's I'm excited for
yeah,
that.
just hoping that history repeats itself there a little bit.
Maybe it'll be interesting to see. But
Yeah.
I guess before we end this interview, do you have like any shout outs you want to give to anybody, and who should we have on the podcast next?
Wow, that's a good question. I think I think international players like Josefin on my team and Nelly. I think like you're from the East Coast, so you probably get girls from the East Coast and like their experiences, and now like you've done Minnesota too, where I think getting some of those international players. I don't know if you've done those yet, but I think that that would be really cool because it is again completely different in how they kind of grow up. So I would definitely say like Josefin and Nelly would be
Nice.
really good ones.
All right, I'll definitely reach out and see what's up. But I know I took a lot of your time today, Skylar, but thank you so much for doing this for me. I appreciate it. And I wish you and your team nothing but the best for next season. I know you guys are going to definitely compete for a national championship, and I'm looking forward to seeing the new faces on your team and how they sort of gel with some of the returning players. And yeah, best of luck. And I know you do great individually and also team wise as well. So yeah, thanks for doing this. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem. It was a lot of fun.